Good morning, afternoon, whatever it is for you. I'm Natalie with Artful Transformations, and today we are going to do some blending with watercolor. Actually, to be completely transparent, we are going to do 3 ways to mix your watercolors. So I've got a 5x7 piece of watercolor paper here, and I'm gonna put some washi tape on it. And the studio is super dry right now because it's winter time when I'm recording this, and it does not like washi tape in here when it's dry. So with my washi tape, it's already starting to peel up. Starts to peel up, it's okay. You can also use masking tape. Just beware that masking tape is a little bit harsher whenever you pull it up, so it may take some of your edges with it. You can remedy that by kind of like taking the tape and putting it on your clothing or on your arm, and doing this a couple of times, ripping it off, getting some of that stickiness a little bit dulled. Okay, so I've got my watercolor paper today. I've got some porcelain trays. I like mixing on porcelain better than mixing on other surfaces. So I will be mixing in my porcelain bowls. These are stackable. I got them on Amazon. It's got a lid. Not really sure what they're truly for, but I use them for watercolor trays. You can also use your tray on your watercolor pan. This is a Winsor & Newton watercolor tray, watercolor pan, whatever you want to call it. I've got my water dishes, If got my brushes, and I've got my paper towel. So I'm ready to go. I am gonna grab, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I am very partial to flats. I like flats. So we're gonna mix, I'm gonna use flats today. And for the purposes of this video, I am going to draw out some of our boxes, and they're not going to be perfect boxes because obviously I'm doing them freehand. So we're going to have a box for our first technique that is just blending our colors in the tray. Then we are going to blend on the paper when it's dry, and then we're gonna blend on the paper when it's wet. So this will be on the palette. If you guys want to do this with me, you're welcome to. So on the palette, we're gonna do on dry paper, on wet paper, and then down here we're going to do glazes. So we're going to have a box that goes this way, and a box that kind of, well, they're kind of not boxes, they're rectangles, and a rectangle that goes through it this way. And then we're going to do that again because we're going to show you how different they are depending on which color you choose on top. So these are glazes. Okay, for the purpose of this, I'm gonna make, maybe I don't want to make purple. I'm gonna make orange. So we're gonna do red over yellow, and yellow over red. The reason why I don't really want to make purple is because purple's kind of a challenging color to blend and get really the one that you want. So we're gonna go with orange. All right, so I'm going to get my brush wet, and I'm gonna find a yellow that I want. I'm gonna go with cadmium yellow, and I'm just gonna dip it a couple of times and get it into my my dish here. And I want it to be like a medium consistency. I would call it milk, if you go by some of my previous videos. I learned it that way from an Australian artist named Jane Blundell, and she does watercolor courses. Actually a whole master watercolor course. If you're interested, you can find her online. So I've got my yellow. I'm going to go ahead and clear out my brush, and I'm going to do the same thing with my red. So it does matter what red and what yellow you choose. Each one's going to give you a different color. I'm going to go into the cadmium red. We'll just, oop, nope. That was not cadmium red. All right, so I guess I'm not. I guess I keep going back to the Alizerian crimson. Sorry. Okay, cad red. Straight into the cad red. And I am gonna put that one over here. So it's still in the same dish, and it'll be real easy for me to bring them together. Okay, and then I'm just gonna mix them. They're gonna meet in the middle. Okay, and remember that red is a little bit more overpowering than yellow is, so the more red you have, the less likely you're gonna get an orange, the more likely you're gonna get a red orange. So right now I've got a pretty good looking orange. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in here. So that's what it looks like when I mix it in my palette. Okay. So now we're gonna mix it on dry paper. And what that means is I've already gotten both of my pans wet. So there should be enough in there that I don't have to pull it off and put it in on the pan or in my dish to be able to blend it. So I'm just gonna pull a little bit off and see if that's the truth. It's a little bit heavier than I'd like, so I'm gonna add some water to it because I want it to be the same consistency as I just had on that paper. And you can squeegee some of it off to make it a little bit less. And then we're just gonna go on dry paper and put that yellow down. Okay. And then while it's there, we're gonna rinse that yellow off. And we're gonna go in and we're gonna take some of that cad red that we had, and that one's a little drier. So I'm gonna add some to it, and squeegee it off a bit, and now we're gonna put it on. So you'll see that it's pretty close to what we had before, but it is a different color, and it'll start to dry and it'll look different as well. So, but it is orange. Ta-da! Okay. Another way is on wet paper. So we can blend it on wet paper. So we're going to take just a wet brush with no pigment on it, no color on it, and we're going to fill our box with water. And it should not puddle. You should be able to look at it sideways and see a little sheen. But that is it. So we're going to just do the same thing we did before. We're going to take the yellow and we're going to go across with the yellow because that's what we did first before. Okay, so there's my yellow. I've got a little bit more than I'd like, so I'm just going to squeegee it off and come and take some of that pigment away. There we go, nice and even. Okay, and then I'm going to rinse it off, and I'm going to go into my cadmium red again and grab some of that pigment, and I'm going to go right on over it like I did the last time. And this time I think I got a little bit more red than I did, but actually the effect is exactly what I thought it was going to be, so we're still good. It's a little bit different orange, but that is what that's our other way, right? Blending on wet paper. So now we're going to do a glaze, which is on dry paper. And to do that, we're just going to grab our yellow, because actually this one's the yellow over red. So this one's red over yellow. We're going to start with yellow on the base of our little weird cross here. So we're going to do this in yellow. Okay, and I've got some pooling over here, so I'm just going to dry it off and pull it off. So I'm not having a whole bunch there. Okay, so now we're going to go in and clean it off, and we're going to grab that CAD yellow. And it's getting a little dry again. So add some to the pan. My poor pan's kind of overflowing. And then we're gonna go this way. So we're gonna have red, and then it's gonna turn to, and you're just gonna pull over it once. So keep grabbing your red, pull over, okay? And you're gonna kind of see that glaze over the top of it. Not super even, but obviously with practice that can change. Okay, so let's see what happens whenever we start with the CAD red. We'll go and pull that. Here's our CAD red. Let's get some of that extra off. Okay. All right, and then going back to our CAD yellow. And we're gonna just over the top of it. Gives us a totally different color of orange. Definitely a different darker color of orange.